A revisit to Ephara, god of the Polis, and we're up against Yarok the Desecrated, very popular new commander from M20. And popular for good reason. It's a very good commander, 5 mana in Sultai for a 3/5 Death Touch lifelink. If a permanent entering causes the triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, then it triggers an additional time. Ephara, god of the Polis, is 4 mana in Azorius for a 6/5 indestructible god. Your devotion to Azorius needs to be 7 or greater in order to have her become a creature, and at the beginning of your upkeep, if you had another creature enter under your control last turn, you draw a card. Let's just hold up the brainstorm, and we'll do that at the end of our opponent's turn. Then we can shuffle some cards away from the top with the Flooded Strand if we want to. And Mana Vault on turn 1 for our opponent. Unfortunately, we don't have our Disenchant in hand. But we wouldn't have gotten the chance to use Disenchant anyway by the looks of it, because they're using it now, going for Trinket Mage, probably onto a Sol Ring. That's exactly what they're doing. And now if they get into another coloured source next turn, which they are going to with a Spring Bloom Druid, then they'll be able to get Yarok down next turn. It's an okay start from our opponent, I suppose. Let's see here. Well, we can throw a couple of lands on top. Draw into the Hallowed Fountain, shuffle away the fetch with the Flooded Strand. Although, do we really need to shuffle that away? Let's just slow roll this. We'll get down the... Actually, we can get down Chromatic Lantern, can't we? So let's do that. Deciding to swing in with the Trinket Mage and the Spring Bloom Druid first. And then I assume we're going to see our opponent's commander. Certainly are. They've got 3 cards left in hand. And it would be really nice to have a board wipe right now, but yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to happen for us. We could go for Muldrifter and then Momentary Blink onto the Muldrifter to keep it in play. Yeah, I say we go for that. We've evoked Muldrifter, so we will have to sacrifice it, but the evoke trigger goes on the stack, so we do have time to respond to it. So we go Momentary Blink, and not only does this give us another ETB effect, but it keeps Muldrifter in play, because flickering Muldrifter back in does not count towards the evoke. So we draw into 4 cards. We can try and get into some answer that we apparently are not going to. Wasteland onto Tropical Island isn't the worst though. Not normally the type of play that I would like to make, but our opponent's gotten off to a really good start, so I'm not going to feel too guilty over it. And there's that little trick that we like to use in our Yarok the Desecrated deck. Venser can bounce itself, and bounce something of yours as well. They've also got more green mana in Gaia's Cradle, so that Wasteland is nowhere near as good now. We'll just have to take this, but I think our opponent's got too much mana for us. We could Vendilion Click and get rid of the Venser. Yeah, let's crack this Flooded Strand. And yeah, we'll go for the Vendilion Click. Let's have a look and see what our opponent's got. They did pause for a little bit, so I don't know if they have counter magic that they want to play around with. Well, there's a Swan Song. They can't counter us with that. Yeah, let's just get rid of their Venser. And then we could Talisman of Progress, but I'd quite like to get rid of that Gaia's Cradle. So we'll do just that. And now we know they have a land and a Swan Song in hand, and next turn they will have a couple of things that we don't know about. We're not going to block with Muldrifter, so let's just swing in. Might as well get some points of damage on the board. They've drawn into a Strionic Resonator at some point. Now, if they've got Swan Song, we need to play around that somewhat. Yeah, we'll have to shock down the Hallowed Fountain, because unfortunately we need to go for the Soul Herder here. The Flicker Wisp even, not the Soul Herder. Although we could try Soul Herder instead, couldn't we? At the beginning of your end step, exile a creature, then return it. And that's a plus counter on Soul Herder, which makes it a better blocker. What to do? Now, we'll just go for Flicker Wisp for now. I like the idea of surprising our opponent with a Soul Herder and Sun Titan combo, but I think they're going to get too much damage on us too quickly. Flicker Wisp will flicker the Muldrifter, and we will get some more card draw from that. Let's see if we can land a Talisman of Progress. We do. They allow that in with the Swan Song, I think. Oh no, they can't counter artifacts with Swan Song, can they? It's instant sorceries and enchantments. Then in comes Muldrifter, draws us into Prismatic Vista and the Gilded Lotus. Alright, going in with the whole crew, let's gang up on Yarok. And then we'll get rid of the Trinket Mage as well, and we'll have to take one from the Springbloom Druid. We'd like to keep our creatures in play as best as possible, but we're really just having to stem the bleeding at this point. And Yarok comes straight back into play. We get another white source, that's good. We'll play that out immediately. Right, can we do anything with a Sun Titan? We could go Sun Titan, bring back Flicker Wisp, flicker the Sun Titan, and bring back out the Vendilion Click. And we're going to have to tap down the Ancient Tomb to do it, unfortunately. Let's go for the Sun Titan. We'll grab back the Flicker Wisp. And what I'd like to do is get Wasteland going with Soul Herder and Sun Titan, but our opponent's been way too fast this game. Flicker Wisp will target our Sun Titan. And that will bring Sun Titan back into play next turn. And therefore, Sun Titan can bring something back. We could go for the Wasteland. Yeah, and that might discourage our opponent from swinging in. Yeah, I say we just go for the Wasteland here. We'll go after that Tropical Island and see if they want to put mana into Mana Vault. They do tap it down in response. Yeah, just deciding to let the blue mana evaporate. So that's 1 mana down. They've got 2, 4, 6, 8 mana. And they're pretty much fixed thanks to their basics, so we can just keep them down on mana, but we can't really screw their colours anymore. A Birthing Pod probably gets us. They can sack a creature and search for something with CMC 1 plus the CMC of the creature that they sacrifice, so that will be a 4-drop coming down here. And that's probably the Ravenous Chupacabra. Yeah, that's exactly what they go for. That blows up our Flicker Wisp and our Sun Titan. Ravenous Chupacabra kills something when it enters. And it does that twice with Yarok, so in swings our opponent for the victory. And that's a good game to our opponent. Got off to a really fast start with the Sol Ring and the Mana Vault. Way too quick for us. And we had to put a lot of life into Ancient Tomb just to keep up. So I think we need to get another game going and see if we can win a game without fast mana. Ephara, God of the Polis, versus Kykar Wind's Fury. And that's a bit too expensive for my blood. We don't seem to get into the rocks very quickly in this deck. Well, we've got lands there at least, so we'll keep that. Get down our tap land. Oh, no. See, and they've added this now. The number of times I've thought that the game was starting because I completely forgot about the mulligan rule. Yeah, we'll just throw away the Arid Mesa. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Yeah, they've added the confirm button to make sure that you're actually done with the mulligan, because a lot of the times you click a land that you want to play on turn 1 when actually you're putting that on the bottom of your library with the scry rule. So it's good that they have added that confirmation in. Okay, apparently we're just going to get into all our expensive stuff this game. Just going for a bounce land. If we get into... it'll have to be another land, then Temple of the False God will be quite good. I do tend to have good luck with Temple of the False God, hence the reason it's in here, but we haven't started with the best of hands. Get down the Soul Herder, a cool new one from Modern Horizons. At the end step, it flickers something and gets a plus counter every time something is exiled. Alright, there's the other land, that's good. I say we just shock that down and go for our commander here. Kykar Wind's Fury, by the way, is 4 mana in Jeskai for a flyer. It's a 3/3 bird wizard that can sacrifice a spirit to add red, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get a 1/1 spirit with flying. And we may be seeing Kykar here. Whenever I play Kykar, I like to hold up counter magic backup, but our opponent doesn't seem too fussed about doing that. Go for Spark of Creativity. Exile the top card of your library. You can have this deal damage equal to the card CMC to that card. And what did they reveal there? They obviously got lucky there. Yep, they revealed a Spirit Bonds. So that is 2 damage for 1 mana on the Soul Herder. Luckily for us, we can Windmill Slam a Sun Titan now. So we will get the Soul Herder back, and Soul Herder can exile the Sun Titan and flicker that. Unfortunately, we don't have a fetch in the graveyard, so we can't make maximum value out of that. But hopefully we can start playing around with Venser next turn. That does put a plus counter on the Soul Herder, so it makes it more robust than it would be otherwise. And Ephara triggers, getting us into a Knight of the White Orchid. We've got more lands than our opponent, so we don't have too much use for that. A Firemine Vessel. That's 2 mana of different colours it taps for. I'm making use of the Spirit mana to get down colourless mana rocks here. Yeah, and there's a Cathartic Reunion. That is red card draw, so it might be focused on red spells, this deck, because they can generate red from the spirits. They discarded a Gutter Snipe, and there is also a Zada in the graveyard, so it might be that they have targeted spells as well. In fact, it's almost certain that that's what they're doing. A Feather-esque type build. Let's get down Venser here. And we can really give our opponent a headache with Venser. We'll bounce Kykar, forcing them to recast it. And then we'll bounce... probably we can actually bounce this bounce land with it. And that will really give our opponent a hard time. Let's go and swing in with everything. If they double block on the Soul Herder with the spirits, then we can actually use Ephemerate to flicker Venser. And yeah, that's what they're doing. So this not only pushes 12 points of damage through, but it also ensures that we can plus the Soul Herder so that we get rid of both the spirits and keep our Soul Herder in place. So that's really good value for us. Venser comes back into play and bounces the Azorius Chancery. And I think our opponent is way too far behind now. But we'll see, they might have something. They've got 8 cards in hand. Going to flicker the Venser again with the Soul Herder. Cheating mana abilities is really, really good. And yeah, our opponent sees what we were about to do there. We were going to bounce the Firemine Vessel back to our opponent's hand, so pretty lucky there, getting into lands, maybe 3 turns in a row I think it was. And just managed to get into Sun Titan and do some Soul Herder shenanigans. Really good new card from Modern Horizons. If anyone has a Flicker/Blink deck, then Soul Herder definitely belongs in there because it does it for free. And got some really good triggers out of Venser as well. I think we bounced 3 things there after the Firemine Vessel. So hopefully you all enjoyed that one. I think this is 2 games together. One in which we got beat because of fast mana. And this one. So hopefully you enjoyed those. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.